And Scope, Raimel Pena, and JANISH. Here at the Rogers Center, you see the numbers put up for the 4-5-5 and 5 home runs.
And let's take a look at Jay Happ's pitch arsenal this season. The fastball 66% of the time. Would have been 90s with the heater. The breaking ball has a slider and curve. And then the straight change 8% of the time. 12 starts this year for Happ. 6 wins with a 3.57 earned run average. Success here in the early going for Happ, but he's had some struggles early in the ball game. Orioles look to not let him settle in. Opponents hitting .238 overall. Happ has given up 9 long balls on the season.
Happ will come in his first outing against the Orioles this year. He is 2-3 lifetime against the Orioles with a 3.56 ERA. Here in Rogers Center, 1-2 against the Orioles with a 3.27. It's J. A. Happ. He prefers J. So for his preference, it's J. Happ.
All right.
He thought so much of that he actually had him put it in the press guide. I remember kidding him last year about that because everyone refers to him as J.A. Happ because that's what it says. But no, J it is. All right, the Orioles against the left-hander, 8-6 against left-handed starters this year. They've hit much better against the righties. Adam Jones stands in, 1 for 9 in the series so far, and he'll take that for a strike. Oriole numbers against righty lefties continue to increase. 267 off righties, 223 overall against left-handers. Adam will plunk that one outside of first base. He'll take a hop, but no chance for Smoke to get over there.
Looks like Adam had a long backswing there, catching a piece of Blue Jays catcher Josh Thole, but immediately reaching back, making sure he's okay.
And probably going back a step.
Yeah.
Or at least a half a step. Thole getting the start behind the plate with the left-hander Happ on the mound. Adam Jones hitting only 167 against left-handers this year. And Adam won't help the average with that one. Thole puts the tag on, and Happ starts with a K.
Oh, the big breaking ball. Pretty good sharpness here and finish on the end. Gets ahead and then buries the breaking ball down. Adam Jones giving chase there.
And as we said last night against Estrada, where the rule for the Oriole hitters was don't swing at the changeup, kind of the same thing today with Happ on the off-speed stuff he throws, but trouble is that's about all he throws. They will look at a pitcher who throws above 90, as you saw right there on that pitch, but you'll get a lot of off-speed stuff from this left-hander. Rickard in the lineup with a left-hander on the mound. He's getting the start in right field, takes the pitch away.
Take a look at Joey Rickard's numbers this season. The Jeep inside the numbers. He hit safely in 13 of his first 14 major league games. 350 average April 21st, but slumped in May to 214. 1 for 9 here in June. Rickard going through the learning process. The league certainly figured Joey out the first month of the season, and now it's just up to him to make the adjustments. And platooning, it's going to be a little bit tougher.
He is a platoon player now with a 269 off left-handers, 231 off righties. Happ will get it in, a 3-ball, 1 strike count. Pronounced ground ball pitcher. Happ, 33 years old, 68 wins, 64 losses in his career. Was with Toronto before, traded away, and came back. Fouled away. In fact, Happ, kind of interesting. Players involved in the deal for him, played by a fan right there. He was traded to Seattle for Michael Saunders back in 2014. Well, Saunders is having a breakout season for Toronto right now, and here's Happ back in a Toronto uniform. He was signed in November by the Jays after playing last year for both Seattle and Pittsburgh. 3-2 pitch. That hit him. He had turned around. He throws it wild. I think that'll be a base hit. The question is he all right?
Wow. Pull it back through the middle. Actually catches his glove right there. But Happ has been through this before. Line drive comebacker. Good recovery though on that play.
Good play by Smoke to prevent an extra base on that. And that quiets the hum in the ballpark, as it always will. He got himself completely turned around on that somehow. That's hard to do when a ball hit that hard. He had his back to the plate, and you saw the glove up.
See the finish here, and then instead of trying to square up to the baseball, safer to just turn away from it, much like a hitter. When the ball coming at you, you turn away from the baseball. Smart, quick decision there by Happ.
So Rickard is on. Manny Machado up. Orioles pick up a base hit. Manny is 3 for 14. Lifetime off Happ. Rickard is a threat to run, and they have stolen bases against Happ. Base steal is 4 out of 5. And the pitch will be taken down low for a ball.
Yeah, Happ not that quick to home plate. So Joey Rickard's got to get a longer one-way lead so he can see what Happ's move is like. Try to get a look at his A move.
1-0 delivery to Manny. Manny's going to get one hard hit. Barney, 1, relay, 2. We'll see if the Orioles want to check on that play at second base. Apparently not.
Just check to see the replay. Pretty fancy play there. Barney to Goins.
Nice drag of the foot by Goins, huh?
Yeah.
Kept it on there and had plenty of time. The ball was hit so hard. No runs, 1 hit, no errors. That's where the ground ball pitcher has an advantage, as Happ has gotten hitters to go into those double plays more than just about anybody else in Major League Baseball. Hits into the double play. 5th highest percentage of induced ground ball double plays goes to Happ, and he added to it.
Yeah, helped out by his defense there. Take a look at Mike Wright's pitch arsenal this season. The fastball 72% of the time. Would have been 90s with that heater. Of course, the slider and change. 5.14 earned run average. Came down after his last start of 7 innings with no earned runs. Opponent sitting 282 overall. The lefties, he's got to try to manage. 356 batting average by left-handed hitters. Has given up the 9 long balls this season.
Bautista is not in the lineup for a second day with that tightness, the right thigh area. Down to first, Carrera. Take a look at the lineup for the Jays today. Carrera in the leadoff spot for Bautista. Donaldson, Encarnacion, Saunders, Smoak, Villar, Barney, Goins, and Tolley. You see Encarnacion, the walk-off home run with the winner last night in the 10th inning. Janish in at third base. Carrera has laid down 1 bunt for a base hit. You see how closely the Orioles move in.
Oh yeah, in tight. Janish over at third base in today's ball game.
1-1 delivery on the way by Wright. That'll be popped up third base. Maybe short. Janish having trouble finding it. He had to go back quite a ways that time and gets it.
Take a look at the Orioles defense behind Mike Wright this afternoon. Ryan Old start in left field. Jones in center. Joey Rickard over in right field. Machado and Scope, the double play combination. Janish getting the start at third base today. Davis back at first. And Francisco Pena. And Matt Wieters the off day.
Here is Josh Donaldson. The Orioles now are a game ahead of the Red Sox. One up in the loss column as well. Toronto at 33-30 with their victory last night. Able to cut that margin a bit. Donaldson will take the pitch for a strike. Toronto third place. They are 4.5 games out. The bunching continues. 7.5 games separating Baltimore and Tampa Bay, as Tampa Bay right now last, although they've won 2 in a row. The Yankees have won 5 in a row. 0-1 pitch to third. Janish gloves it, has time, and makes the play. That's the glove, Paul Janish.
My, oh my, we have seen some impressive plays here in the first inning of game 3. Janish going down, ball kicking up. Concentration there, because he's got plenty of time after the smash. Perfect throw over to Davis. How about these reactions? Bullet, get low. Nice glove work. Snaring it up by the ear. Beautiful play by Janish.
So 2 down, and that will bring up the hero of last night. Encarnacion snapped an 0 for 19 with a home run in the 10th inning to win the ball game and even up the first 2 in the series. This 4-game set. Orioles still lead 3-2 in the overall series. And we'll take the pitch outside. His 5th career walk-off home run, 4th as a member of the Jays. He's had only 2 hits in his last 24 at-bats, and both of them have been home runs. 1-0 pitch on the way. The amazing thing with Encarnacion, despite the struggles at the plate, he's had 16 RBIs in his last 16 games, and he hasn't hit a lick.
Right.
How do you do that?
Some guys getting on base in front of him, maybe a lot of sac flies, right?
Man, oh man. And he's one of the leaders in the league when it comes to RBIs. He is tied with Trumbo for 3rd. 2-0 delivery on the way, and a breaking ball right outside to him. So far wants nothing to do with Encarnacion, the DH.
Yeah, being very careful. Well, why not? I think there are a few boppers in this Blue Jays lineup struggling a little bit. Like Encarnacion could possibly be waking up after that game winner last night's game.
Encarnacion 2 for 6 off right, and nothing even remotely close. Let's take a look at our Maryland Live Casino inside the numbers.
Yeah, career comparison here. Trouble the American League East for Mike Wright. Seeing his career 1 win, 5 losses, 9.85 earned run average versus the rest of the American League. 5-3 record with a 3.86 earned run average. On the bottom you see he's lost all 3 starts to Toronto, 10 earned runs and 11 innings pitched. So solving the American League East a key. And I think sometimes, and we've witnessed it, Mike Wright, really an emotional player, and he thinks trying harder sometimes is the best bet against powerhouse lineups in the East. You sometimes have to try a little bit less.
And here is the Michael Saunders we were talking about earlier. He's putting up some good numbers against the Orioles. He had a 3 for 8 in the first 2 games. He is 9 for 20 with a home run and 2 RBIs in the 5 games played against the O's this year. Shift is on. Scope way out there in right field, and Saunders will punch that one back. And a 1-ball 1-strike count. 4-game hit streak. You see the numbers that he is putting up. He's been a really solid player, consistent offensive player, and that's why John Gibbons has got him in that number 4 spot in the lineup. 1-ball 1-strike count. I should say defensively, Janish is out there in right field. The Orioles take their 3rd baseman and move him out, way out. I mean, that's about as deep as you can play and still have it play at first base.
The ball's going to get to him a little bit quicker, so he can afford to play a little deeper, give himself some more range.
They keep Jonathan Scope in with a chance for a force at second base if needed. 2-1 delivery on the way to him, and that is going to miss down low. 3-ball 1-strike count from Wright.
Well, after the 4-pitch walk to Encarnacion, and now falling behind 3-1. Wright showing a little bit of emotion here, spinning off. turn around, quick fist pump. Last start he showed it a couple times, but was able to pull himself back together immediately. To be able to contain those emotions again here today.
3-1. Runner not going. Saunders will put it up in the air. It is deep. Center. Jones back and up, and Adam Jones hauls it in. Side settle that one, maybe. Adam Jones played that as though he had it all the way, and maybe he did. That ball was tagged. A little bit of wind blowing with the roof open here today, but Adam lined it up in another outstanding defensive play early in this ball game as he disappears into the well, goes up, hauls it in off the top of the wall. It wouldn't have been out, but it would have been an extra base hit. Game is Mike Myers from Hamden, 500 for being selected, 500 more for every Orioles home run hit today. Play Home Run Rich's scratch offs went up to 50,000. Enter non-winning tickets for a chance to be the contestant of the game. Go to mdlottery.com/baseball. You might get one right here. Davis has been launching the long ball, 3 for 6. Couple of home runs in the series. And on the off-speed delivery, that one down and away.
Yeah, Chris Davis been on a nice little roll. Home runs in 3 straight games. Went opposite field. Has looped the tough lefty and then hammering a ball off Estrada. Big numbers here at the Rogers Center for Chris Davis.
Davis against the lefties, hitting 190, 234 off right-handers. 3 of his home runs have come against lefties this year. 1-2 delivery on the way, and he'll take that one the other way. If it falls fair, he's got himself a base hit, but it won't. At our PNC inside the numbers as Davis comes back.
Yeah, career versus the Blue Jays. All-time leaders. Davis on top, averaging a home run every 10 at-bats. Pretty impressive. Kittle, Kingman, Phelps, and Hafner on that list. Davis, 15 home runs at the Rogers Center. He's done that in 149 at-bats. His 33 career home runs against the Blue Jays. He's done it in 330 at-bats. Impressive power numbers against this Jays team.
Loves playing in this ballpark. Said the other night, I don't know, I don't know why, but I feel good at the plate, see the ball well. 336 batting average in this ballpark here at Rogers Center. Shift on against him. 2-ball, 2-strike delivery by Happ. Boy, against Happ, the way Happ throws and keeps things down and away, the chance for Davis to get a base hit the other way is, I would think, fairly potent here, and they've still got the shift on, so if he can get anything down the left side, he's going to have a base hit. Yeah,
especially here with 2 strikes, be a little bit more protective, let the ball travel a little bit.
2-2 delivery by Happ. Everything's being fouled off that way, and it will stay at 2 balls and 2 strikes to Chris Davis. Orioles 91 team home runs now. They are still second behind Seattle. Seattle's got one more than they do at 92. Mark Trumbo still the major league leader with 20. 2-2 delivery. Happ's hanging on that outside part of the plate, and Chris fouling everything off on the third base side, keeping his at bat alive, trying to get a little fatter pitch to go after.
Well, Davis taking some pretty good swings here, and yeah, you look at the pitch track. Nothing really on the plate. Just did one inside that Davis actually pulled the hands through and fouled off the opposite way as well.
2-2 delivery on the way, and then came back inside and got it.
Steady diet of pitches away. How about a two-seamer, a little sink action down under the hand. Starts on the inside corner. Just rides down and in to get Davis. Quite a battle right there. Happ winning Davis's first AB.
Happ now with a couple of strikeouts. 13th start of the year for Happ. And the pitch is strike on the inside corner. Mike Trumbo, he's the DH in the ball game today. Mark has been sharing the DH duties, 29th game as a designated hitter. Ground ball towards second base, short hop. Barney gets it. Stretched by SMOAK. Now the Orioles are going to be returning home on Friday to take on these same Blue Jays that evening. Fireworks night presented by BGE after the game. Stick around for a great display of fireworks, and that'll start your Father's Day weekend in the right way. For tickets, Orioles.com. Two down, nobody on. Jonathan Schoop. 2 for 10 lifetime off the left-hander Happ. Schoop hitting .222 off the lefties coming into the ball game. Last year finished hitting .232. 10 points higher against left-handers. 1-0. That's a 92 by him. These starters for the Jays, they are the lifeblood of this Blue Jays team, despite all the big name bats. Off the end of the bat and foul. Their starters have been second to none. They are in ERA the fewest, second, the fewest hits per 9 innings, the fewest home runs allowed. They are not a strikeout rotation though. They have the second fewest strikeouts for starting pitchers. And gets him on the inside corner. Happ may not know that as he gets his third strikeout. Jonathan turning to John Payne, the home plate umpire, on this one. 3 up, 3 down. Later in our game today, brought to you by Miller. Mike Wright, the Orioles starter, on the road is 1-1. ERA almost 6 in the road starts. He's had 4 of them previously. Went 1-3 in 4 starts on the road last season. He will be facing SMOAK, Pilar, and Barney. SMOAK, switch hitter, 3 for 6. Lifetime off Mike Wright. Shift on by the Orioles. And the pitch inside to him. SMOAK has hit .250 right-handed, .269 left. 5 of the 6 home runs he has are from this side of the plate. That'll even it up with a ball and a strike.
Yeah, SMOAK's showing a little bit more offensive consistency this year. Very streaky offensive player, and really he and Saunders picked up a lot of the load with their big boys scuffling along here the early part of the season.
That one almost gets away up high. SMOAK has had 4 hits and 13 at bats against the Orioles this year. He's a .275 lifetime hitter against Oriole pitching. Two-one delivery to him, and that's going to be up high. Ballpark where the sun could have an effect today, and some balls put in the air. It's bright.
Yeah,
a lot of glare.
I mean, this is an interesting day, and this field I think is going to play different for these guys. When the sun gets on the turf, and this new turf they make with little rubber pellets, it gets a little more bouncy, so the ground balls are going to be a little trickier. We've already seen infielders balls jumping up on him. JANISH had a ball up by his head. Even Barney at second base, both ground balls have come up on him. But the fly balls that go out to the outfield are the ones that are going to be tricky. When they bounce, how are the outfielders going to play them? They got to give themselves enough room.
And you have the shadow of the roof that is open but still casts a shadow. You saw Adam Jones make his catch. He goes from daylight into darkness with the roof open, and that's a little tricky. You got sunglasses on, you're following a ball in the sun, and suddenly it's dark.
Yeah.
So a second walk surrendered by Wright. The never good leadoff walk. Pilar up, 4-game hit streak, and he will miss inside to him. Pilar's got a 3 for 8 in this series. In at third base, JANISH, just off the proverbial cut of the grass or turf. 1-0 pitch, right straight back. Easy cut on it. That one he wanted. 1-1.
Oh, Mike Wright, the fastball velocity as high as we've seen it in the past. I think right now just trying to throw strikes with the heater, trying to keep it down. He's left some elevated, but this might be part of his transitioning into just keeping the emotions in check.
Runner off first base, and a breaking ball is away. Second outing against Toronto for Wright this year. Second start of the year. He took the loss in a 4-3 ball game. Gave up 3 runs, 6 hits over 6. He threw a career high 105 pitches in that game. After that game against Detroit, he threw 108 for a new high. 2-1 delivery on the way to him, and that is on the outside corner for a strike, turning Pilar away. Questioning whether or not the umpire saw the plate or not. John Dumpain, the home plate umpire, a little favorable towards hitters usually. Pretty straight up on the strike zone. 2-2 delivery on the way, and that hit him. Wow, where did that get him? On the elbow or off the bat? Boy, that went off the bat, I guess.
I thought it got the elbow back.
I did too.
No.
Nope.
Right arm, right elbow.
Ooh,
wow.
Ooh,
Watch the backside. When the backside drops, it catches the right arm.
Right on the elbow, on the back elbow.
Boy, that's going to affect the throwing.
He immediately started walking away.
Yow.
That'll be the 5th hit batter by Wright this year. He's going to try and stay in the game. And they already don't have Bautista. Bautista tried today. He went out and ran. came back in and told John Gibbons it just didn't feel well enough to play. So they want to rest him another day. He's available, and they hope he's going to be in the lineup tomorrow.
Well,
Tulowitzki, of course, is out, coming back probably this coming week.
See Mike right here, the opponent average with runners in scoring position. Real good number at 239. The American League average 255, so well below that. Nice, keep that two-seamer down in the zone. Good opportunity to get 2 quick outs here for Mike Wright.
Barney is up. In is Janish, not showing bunt. Pitch will be taken for a strike. So the Orioles looking for a sacrifice here from the second baseman Barney. Janish will stay in. He's had a hot bat, 2 for 8 in this series. He has not had a sacrifice this year in 117 at bats. Runners off first and second base. Barney not bunting. Chance for 2. Manny Machado, Jonathan Scope. There's another big double play. So they turn 2. Smoak will move up, but there are 2 away.
Well, there you go. Nice little ground ball. Easy for Manny Machado to handle. And up to Jonathan Scope. Take a look at Pilar. And aggressive here. And get a piece of Jonathan Scope sliding through the base.
So a chance to get out of the inning. I guess Buck Showalter's held the game up for a review of some sort here, but turned the double play.
Yeah, double play got cleaned up. I'm wondering if yeah, looking at the slide. Chopper getting Machado quickly. Take a look at Clark. Came in aggressively. Looked like a legal slide, but it's how he finished. What they're talking about, going past the base. Tried to reach back, but he couldn't keep his hands on there. Look at Bowman's trying to grab, but the momentum takes him off.
What would it have mattered?
I know. Well, exactly.
Runner at third base, 2 down. And the pitch will be taken inside. Goings getting a start, has not appeared in this series. He's at short. He is 3 for 5 lifetime against right, so that's one of the reasons he is in there in this game. Runner at third base, 2 down. No score in the ball game. Toronto still looking for their first hit. They've had a couple of walks to get people on. 1-0 delivery. That'll be in the outside corner for a strike. Well located right there. This is where, as we said, Toronto struggled all year. 190 with runners in scoring position for Ryan. Team is still next to last in the league at 221. Wright's 1-1. That'll be inside. We talked about how the Orioles have not had a lot of chances with runners in scoring position. They have the second fewest at bats, the Orioles do. And I was surprised to see Toronto's had the 4th fewest. So neither of these teams has had a lot of people on base in scoring position.
Yeah, well, that has been a big part of their problem, and we talked about it yesterday. Just the lower third not getting on base enough for the big guys at the top.
2-1 delivery on the way. Got him to go after one that was way outside, and he tips the 93-mile-an-hour heater.
Good movement right here on the fastball. That's boring away, 93 miles an hour.
Ryan Goings, 28 years old now. Last year with Toronto, got in 128 games. Hit 250. Trying to get a run in at third base. Smoak. Outfield shallow in center. Ball put up in the air. Right center field. Adam Jones was in shallow. Can he get there? Way back. He does! He's got it! He dropped it. Run will score. It'll be a triple and an RBI. He had the glove on it, but he was so shallow he had to go so far to get there, and that time could not hang on. It looked like he was going to catch it on the rebound.
Yeah, it got into his glove. You know, maybe going into the shadows might have been a trick here. Both he and Rickard giving chase, and right at the end, ball hits the glove, but it doesn't stick. See it rolling there, and as soon as Adam hits the wall, ball falling out, trying to corral it there. Great effort by Adam Jones.
So a 2-out RBI. It's got to be a triple to Goins, because that would have taken a tremendous play to haul it in. Smoke scores 1-0 Toronto. Pitch inside, blocked by Pena. So the leadoff walk ultimately comes around to score here in the second inning. Great effort by Adam Jones. He was way in. He likes going back on balls, but it's a big center field when you hit one 400 feet away and you're playing in. Tolley up 0 for 16. Josh Tolley will take it inside, and the count goes 2-0 from right.
Yeah, well, Jones playing a little tighter. Goins not swinging the bat so well, and with 2 strikes, you expect him just to slap the ball, but an elevated fastball. Eyes get big, bat speeds up, easier to get on the barrel, and Goins crushed that ball to right center.
2-0 count. They get an RBI from the least expected perhaps on this team. Goins has only 13 hits in his last 102 at-bats. That's an average of about 120. He's had hitless streaks of 15, 18, and 21 this year, and he comes through. More power to him. 2 ball, 1 strikeout. Tolley waiting on it, and that'll be up high. Oh, the count will go to 3-1. Right a little bit all over the place here early on in this game. He does not have particularly good command. Although that was the first hit Jays have picked up. 3-1. Tolley on a check swing will foul that one back.
A lot of pitches up in the zone right now from Mike Wright.
Tolley's looking for his first hit with the runner in scoring position. He's only had 9 chances. 0 for 9. Veteran catcher spelling Martin, who also has not been hitting. 3-2, 2 down. Tolley puts one up in the air, left center, not deep. Jones is over and will make the catch. But a run in off the leadoff walk. Goins with the triple, and Toronto takes the 1-0 lead. Time 4:05. The first 10,000 male fans 18 and over at the afternoon game will get the O's barbecue tool set presented by BGE. Hope you'll be there. Father's Day weekend, of course, coming up. Get your tickets at Orioles.com or 888-848-BIRD. Barbecue away. Haps got a lead. Jays up 1-0. Braimel, Pena, and JANISH This is going to be a tough play. Goins makes it. Reimold's got good speed. You got to get rid of it in a hurry on a ball like that, and he did.
Goins been playing some great defense for the Blue Jays, even though the bat letting him down a little bit this year. Nice running play here. The speed of the runner, speed of the baseball, gets his feet off the ground. Good first step. Catch and release.
Gets the ground ball out. Near is Pena. Francisco making his 4th start of the year. As Buck Sowalter said before the game today, so far so good. This is an unforgiving game in many ways. I was thinking this morning, remember J.J. Hardy?
Yeah.
Remember Caleb Joseph?
Yeah.
The game just kind of goes on. Ball in the gap, and wow, that was riding on an airwave. That ball was looked like it wasn't going to come down. And another out recorded, 2 down.
Take a look at Pena's swing here. Pretty good off the bat. Just kind of floating out there. Poor Pilar to easily run underneath.
That'll bring up JANISH. Paul batting 9th, playing at third base. Happ's got 2 down, nobody on. JANISH 2 for 11 off lefties. In there for a strike. Oh, 0-1 delivery on the way. That'll be taken down low. But for a very few players, maybe in all sports, I think even more so in baseball, it's about the name on the front, not the name on the back. That's going to be a base hit into center field. You saw some of that rubber that's in this turf bounce up every time the ball hits. You get that spray. JANISH has a single with 2 down.
Nice piece of hitting right there by Paul JANISH, turning the lineup over for the Orioles.
So Adam Jones, already a busy day in center. Adam, a strikeout victim, his first time up. He has had more at-bats against Happ than anyone else in the lineup. 7 for 26 with a home run against this left-hander. Short, force at second. Happ's got it done. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 left on base. Top of the order coming up for the Jays. T-Mobile. Open our Major League Notebook to our East Winds page. How about Sabathia with the Yankees? Last 6, 3 earned runs, .71 ERA, lowest in a 6-start span of his career. Former Oriole Steve Pearce with the Rays, 6 hits, last 2 starts. That's the most in consecutive games in his career. Last best number came with the O's. And Dustin Pedroia of the Red Sox, 16-game hit streak. That's now the longest active streak in the majors.
Red Sox have had 3 of the longest streaks in the majors, I think, this year.
Yes.
Bradley Jr.,
Bogarts, and
yeah.
Pedroia. Wow. Top of the order, Carrera popped out his first time up. One of the great first names in the history of the world, Ezekiel. 1-0 pitch on the way, and that is a strike on the inside corner. Old biblical name that just rings with authority. As the clouds go by, look how the field darkens all across the field. It's like a giant blimp is going across. 1-1 delivery on the way. That'll be inside. Close. JANISH again in at third base, recognizing the speed of Carrera.
A little changeup right here that Mike Wright hangs on to a little too long. Hasn't thrown any. That might be the first he's thrown in the ball game. Second time through, trying to mix it up.
Carrera's been hitting over 360 the last month in the at-bats that he has gotten. Bautista, of course, had moved into the leadoff spot, and Carrera is coming off the bench now with Bautista on the bench. He's in right, and there is Bautista. 2-2 delivery on the way. Breaking ball inside. So the count will go to 3 balls and 2 strikes. Wright walked the leadoff batter in the second inning. SMOAK, who came around to score on Goins' RBI triple. Full count delivery to him, and he walks him. Another leadoff walk. This one in the third.
Firmest fastball right there, 95, but rotated out of the delivery a little too soon. Fastball right to the top of the zone.
Donaldson grounded out on a fine play made by JANISH to rob him of a hit. Pretty good lead over there if Carrera can run. Breaking ball that he tried to hold up on hits the bat. And a foul ball strike on Josh Donaldson. Donaldson 4 for 22 against the Orioles this year. He's had a home run, and even with the 4 for 22, he's picked up 4 RBIs against the Orioles. He's been on base 15 consecutive games. 0-1 delivery, and that's going to miss outside. That consecutive game streak has been helped out over 15 games. He's had 14 walks. That'll get your on-base percentage up.
Yeah, this Blue Jays team has started walking more recently.
1-1 delivery, runner not going. That is there for a strike.
Which is
so right up.
Kind of a sign that their offense might be turning around. See more pitches, waiting mistakes out.
They, of course, certainly hope so. They've had the pitching. They've got the pitching. 1-2. Carrera's made no move yet to take off. Doesn't here. That's going to be a base hit to center. Solid shot. Donaldson is on 16 consecutive games. And there are 2 on, nobody out.
Pretty impressive approach here on a high fastball. Staying on top. Right at the top of the zone. He keeps the barrel above the hands. Done that a couple times this series. Get him to swing through up there, pop up. And the shoulders level. A bit of a rally going here in the third.
Ground ball helped right in that second inning when the first 2 got on. A walk and a hit batter. Now a walk and a single. Encarnacion at the plate. He drew a walk his first time up. Wright did not throw him anything to hit in that first at bat. Blue Jays already 1 for 3 with runners in scoring position. Encarnacion has struggled with that. You see the numbers he's put up this year. Jays have picked up in the series so far 5 hits in 26 at bats in these situations. And again, not remotely close. Encarnacion kind of going Is he really going to walk me here with 2 on and nobody out?
Right. Yeah, so Pena out to get him back in the strike zone. Some quality strikes he needs for sure. You see the 49 pitches, 27 balls, only 22 strikes. Get back in that zone with the 2-seamer, bottom of the zone. Get some more early soft contact.
Toronto has the 1-0 lead on the triple by Goins, looking to add to it here in the 3rd inning. Right with the 2-0 pitch. Encarnacion's got a base hit to left field. Herrera will score easily. Donaldson on his way to 3rd is going to be stopped by Luis Rivera, and in with a double and an RBI, Encarnacion.
Mike Wright decided to just get a strike. Here it is. Hit it if you can. Encarnacion waiting all over the 2-0 fastball. Center cut. Hammering it. That 5-6 hole. Herrera easily scoring.
Well, perhaps this is a series where his bat comes alive.
You see the Blue Jays running around the bases. The speed of Herrera. Donaldson held up at 3rd base.
As we mentioned, that's what Encarnacion has been doing. Maybe he doesn't get a lot of hits, but when he gets them, there are RBIs attached to it. He's got 49, 3rd in the league. Michael Saunders, big at bat early in this game. Nobody out, 2 in scoring position. Wright struggling with the strike zone, and against one of the hotter hitters, Michael Saunders robbed, and a great catch by Adam Jones in the 1st inning. Up against the wall in center. Adam back on Saunders with that power he's got. One-0 delivery by Wright, and a chopper. Runner coming. Play is going to be no. Foul ball. Foul ball.
John Payne really calling this one quick. Look, Saunders chopping one right off the top of the lead foot. And it came off there so high, I was like, no way that hit his foot. Oh, he squared it up. That ball bounced in the air all the way to Davis.
How much does that hurt? Well, he'll stand back in. Not quite as comfortable as he was before that last pitch. 2 for 4 for the Jays, and the hit here scores 2. 1-1 delivery by Wright, and that one whacks to right field. Line drive will be hauled in. Rickards got it. Sac fly. Run will score. Donaldson. And the Jays have a 3-0 lead.
Mike Wright lucky there. It was hit right to Joey Rickard out in right field. That ball smoked, and another elevated fastball. Pena setting up down and in. 2-seamer leaks back over. Just the middle plate, but up and middle. Saunders picking up the sac fly.
Runner moves up to 3rd as well. Only one away. The infield will move in. Michael Saunders gets his 22nd run batted in. SMOAK, a walk and a run scored. Will take the pitch inside for a ball. 3 runs on 3 hits for Toronto so far, and threatening more. The Orioles will try and cut down Encarnacion, a slow runner, if he takes off on contact on a ground ball. 1-0 delivery. Swung on and tip foul at the plate. 1-1.
A good location there on first pitch change up. Breaking ball. Both pitches down in the zone. A couple good calls from Pena. Trying to get him to finish out in front with the secondary pitches might help command that fastball a little better. Right now, all 3 hits, fastballs up in the zone.
1-1 delivery on the way to him. Another one foul back. 95. SMOAK just 220 in these situations this year. Right, trying to limit the damage. It's SMOAK looking to pick up Another RBI. Outfield's kind of drawn a line from left to right. Reimel back pretty deep. Jones about where he's expecting to be, and Rickard a little deeper in right. And that's going to be inside.
Blocked by Pena. Runner at third base. The pitcher wants to have faith in you. You bury a curveball or a split finger, keeping it down in the zone. Trust that your catcher's going to be there to block it. Pena assuring him, go ahead. Bury it if you need to with 2 strikes.
2 ball, 2 strike count. Encarnacion off third. Makes delivery again inside. Now the pitch count keeps piling up here. That's 58. He gets 7 outs. It's taking him 8 pitches to get an out.
Yeah, and that now the fastball velocity is starting to climb a little bit, but the command starting to wane. Missing that up and in.
3-2, 1 away. Smoke waiting. And we'll go after one up and got him. There's the first strikeout and a big one for Wright.
There you go. Pitch. Good call after the up and in fastball. 2-seamer riding well off the plate and away. Smoke wanting to come up with a big hit. Expanding the zone there. The second out.
Now the infield can back up. Kevin Pillar hit by a pitch. His first time up. Pillar having a good month of June, hitting .273 this month. And that one froze him, and a strike on the inside corner. Leadoff walk. Carrera has scored. Donaldson a base hit. Encarnacion an RBI double. Sac fly Michael Saunders. 2 runs in the third. 0-1. Chased. One plate umpire makes that call. Tim Payne not need help on the check swing by Pillar. And the 0-2 delivery to him. Keep it alive, fouling it back. Pillar 7 hits in his last 14 at bats during the 4-game hit streak. He has been particularly productive here at home. .297 at home, .208 on the road. That's a pretty disparate set of numbers. 0-2 delivery by Wright. Let's see what he had for breakfast. 1-2.
Not a bad pitch right there. Getting ahead 0-2. Good sinker down and in. Move the feet. Bar's already been plunked, so maybe a little flinchy there on the inside corner. Right, Pena hoping it'll open up the outer edge.
1-2. Encarnacion hanging around third. And that pitch outside, and he did hold up on that one. So Pillar works the count to 2-2. Wright throwing all these pitches a day where the defense behind him spending a lot of time moving dirt around, adjusting their pants.
Yeah, that dirt keeps drying out. How the field's going to be middle of the ball game late.
2-2 delivery on the way, and gets him. So Wright comes through with a couple of strikeouts. Jays will get 2 runs on 2 hits and will leave a runner on at third base. And Toronto, after 3, extends their lead 3-0. Baseball brought to you by the RAV4 Hybrid. All-wheel drive and unexpected performance. Visit buyatoyota.com. Larry Thorne and Mike Bordick on a Saturday afternoon. Summer day here in Toronto. I hope a good one where you are. 3-0 lead for the Jays. Game 3 of the 4-game set. Joey Rickard will leave it off and will take the pitch for a strike. Picked up a base hit his first time up. 3-3-0 for the Jays, 0-2-0 for the Orioles. Jays have left 3, the Orioles 1. Rickard on a breaking ball. It misses. 1 ball, 1 strike. Manny Machado and Davis to follow. And Rickard inside from the left-hander, Happ. 74% of leadoff batters retired by Happ this year. Good number. He's gotten all 3 so far in this game. And a 2-ball, 2-strike count on Rickard. Orioles are 8-2 in the month of June, tied with Cleveland for the best record in June so far. 2-2 foul tip to keep the at-bat alive.
Well, good command with his fastball. Throwing the 2-seamer, 4-seamer, keeping it down, getting the ground ball when he needs. That's had an interesting year. He's had really good success in most of his starts. Only a couple where he's faltered. His last start gave up 6er.
Got a hold of that one to left field. Michael Saunders. Goodbye, home run. Joey Rickard delivers the long ball to left field. That'll be the 10th home run surrendered by Happ, and they all have been hit by the right-handers, and that's why Rickard is in there. And the Orioles are on the board as it is a 3-1 game.
There you go, Joey Rickard wants more playing time. Swing from Joey, getting the O's on the board. His 5th home run of the season.
He's had a 2-for-2 ball game so far. And Mike Byers, our Maryland lottery contestant, that's worth $500 for you. Machado takes it up high.
Take a look at this swing from Joey Rickard. Elevated fastball. And he stays on top of this one, squaring it up. Carrying up and over the left field wall.
Foul down the line the other way. So Rickard with a homer. He's had 3 off left-handers, 3 of the 5. For Joey, that'll be his first career home run against Toronto. Happ with the 1-1 delivery. It'll miss a little bit away. Machado hit into a double play his first time up. So the Orioles are back into a tie for most home runs in the majors. 2-1 pitch, and that's going to be up high. Rickard with the 2-for-2 in this ball game is now 9-for-16 this year against Toronto. He played in those 3 games early in the year at Camden Yards. 3-1 delivery. That's going to be a base hit in the gap in right center. Over to get it, Pilar sliding. Ball bounces off the wall into second base. Manny Machado, and he's got a double.
What's new? Manny Machado double. Kidding me? This ball is smoked though. Line drive. Second baseman looked like he jumped Barney. And how about Pilar, the diving effort out in right center field?
Take a look at our league leaderboard, brought to you by Coons.com. Over 2 million vehicles sold and counting.
Just updated. Manny Machado chasing Ortiz. Ortiz with the lead 27. Machado picking up his 24th in that last swing of the bat.
So the Orioles get the potential tying run to the plate here in the 4th inning with nobody out. Chris Davis. Chris, a strikeout victim, his first time up. Home run each of his last 3, 4 for 10 over that stretch. He puts one down the line. That one is deep, and goodbye, home run. 328 away. Chris Davis, a home run in each of his last 4. This one good for 2 RBIs, and this game is tied. Does he love playing in this ballpark or what?
That's amazing. And he's hitting them all over the place. Davis picking up his 15th home run to tie this ball game up, hooking it down the right field line. Couple tough lefties here that he's had to face. That loop, so tough on left-handed hitters.
Number 15 RBIs, 36 and 37 for Chris Davis.
Here's his homer off. Happ. Breaking ball over the plate. Is he on right now? Timing perfect for Davis.
The 0-1 delivery taken inside by Trumbo. So the Orioles, 2 home runs in this inning coming against Happ, who has not given up more than 2 home runs in a ball game. It's the 4th time this year he has surrendered 2 homers. 1-1 pitch reached for. Barney over. And will make the play to retire Trumbo. That is the first out. So the Orioles come right back after a 2-run, 2-hit 3rd inning for Toronto. The Orioles in their next at bat come back with 3 runs so far and get the ball game tied up. And for Chris, his 34th home run against Toronto and his 16th hit in this ballpark. We were talking about nobody's got a better home run per at-bat ratio in this ballpark than Chris ever. That one up. Jonathan Schoop fouls it away.
Jonathan Schoop got into the home run fun in last night's ball game, picking up his first since May 22nd. 9 homers on the year. A solo shot from Schoop off Estrada.
Left-hander's pitch popped up, same place. 2-strike count.
Now this Orioles offense can get you right back in it in a second, and they have been swinging the bats very well. Clutch, timely hits. Davis starts heating up. Look out.
And a breaking ball taken down low. And once again, all about the home runs as the Orioles use them to get those runs in. They are now out hitting the Jays 5-3 in this ball game. 1-2 delivery. That ball hit hard, base hit. Schoop is on out of the reach of Goings. He's going to go for 2. The throw by Pilar is not going to be in time. And Schoop kept motoring and gets a double.
I'd like to see that. Good hustle out of the box. Both he and Machado. Jonathan Schoop here going to left center. Gap. Bullet. Hard ground ball shooting through the infield. Out of the box though. He's thinking 2. Pilar cuts it off fine. Take a look at Jonathan Schoop. Turning it on. Tight turn here. This Pilar's got a good arm. That's about as fast as we've seen Schoop run. Nice slide to the inside of the base.
Pete Walker, the pitching coach, out to have a word with Happ, as all of a sudden Happ in trouble here in the 4th inning. He's given up 2 homers and 2 doubles while recording only 1 out. Nolan Reimold with a chance to give the Orioles the lead. He grounded out his first time up. Pitch will be away. Orioles were 4 for 11 in these situations in game 1. They were 0 for 3 in the game last night. Now they've got a shot here in the 4th inning on the double by Schoop. And that bounces away, and Schoop quick. He'll get there with no throw. So he moves over to third base with 1 away.
Well, there you go. It's that type of detail that wins ball games. Jonathan Schoop hustling out of the box, getting himself into second base, and able to advance on to third. Pass ball, getting away, walking into third base. Take what's given.
Infield will be drawn in. See the numbers. Happ high. And the pitch taken for a strike. Tolley has had trouble behind the plate. He had 2 pass balls game on the against the Red Sox on April 9. First time he'd ever had multiple pass balls in a game. Now one gets by him here, creating a much better chance to score. Reimold, the 2-1. And a 2-ball, 2-strike count. Nolan up there against the left-hander, hitting .270 against lefties. Happ trying to quiet it down here in the 4th inning. The Orioles come roaring back. 2-2 delivery. Reimold check swing, one around. And that's a big strikeout.
Oh, he likes to bury that breaking ball when he gets ahead. With the runner at third base, bouncing in the dirt. Totally hooding the baseball with the chest, keeping it tight. Nolan check swing on the 2-strike hook.
Francisco Pena, 2 for 2 with runners in scoring position. 2 down, ground ball to third. Donaldson finds it, records the out. But the Orioles right back at it here in the 4th inning. Rickard started it, leading off the inning. His 5th home run of the season. Davis, the first extra base hit by a left-hander against Happ this year. 2 RBIs. Brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. And by visitannapolis.org. Create your moment at visitannapolis.org. Good scene for talking about Annapolis there. Maple leaf on the canoe. Joey Rickard, the long ball. Chris Davis, yet again. Number 15, 2 RBIs. And the Orioles have a 3-3 ball game. So now Wright will try and settle it down and hold the Jays. Barney leads it off, hit into a double play his first time up. And a strike taken. At about 41,000 first game, 44.5 second game. Looks like an even bigger crowd here on this Saturday. And a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Sun drenched, except for those sitting in the shadow of the roof overhanging the outfield.
Yeah, hopefully that big outburst by the Orioles offense helps Mike Wright settle in a little bit.
1-1 came in on him, fouled it off the third base side. Darwin Barney with a 1-ball, 2-strike count. Goins and then Toledo up. 7, 8, 9 in the order for Toronto. The 1-2 is popped back, and that's out of play. One and two. The other thing, settle in, throw strikes, try and get somewhat of a quick inning here and hold that pitch count down a little bit. Bring and go deeper in the ball game. Follow through on that one. We'll take it outside. And a 2-ball, 2-strike count. Mike, 26 years old. 6 wins, 8 losses. His career numbers. 2-2 started, stays away, and another full count.
Full counts today. Mike Wright, not the best command we have seen, but moving the ball all over the place.
Three-two delivery on the way and in the air. Center. Adam Jones of the Sun puts it away. One down here in the 4th inning on the 3-2 count. Celebrate family fun at the Yard as the O's take on these Jays on Father's Day next Sunday, 1:35. First 10,000 male fans 18 and over get the Father's Day Newsboy cap. Kids 14 and under get to run the bases after the game. They get that chance after every Sunday home game. You can get tickets at Orioles.com or 888-848-BIRD. A lot of Oriole fans here for the weekend in Toronto. Goings, a triple and an RBI first time up. It's kind of funny. Pat Tabler does some TV, a lot of TV for Toronto. He had a wonderful gift he gave for an auction for charity, which a couple of fans get to come to Toronto, come to a ball game. And they came. He brought them into the booth today. They're Oriole fans.
Yeah.
From Ohio,
right.
From Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And they couldn't wait to get in. They had lived in Baltimore for a goodly number of years and moved. They're now in Dayton, actually, Dayton, Ohio. They wanted to come in and say hi. We'll never let Pat forget that. Winners of the Toronto auction for charity, 2 Oriole fans from Dayton, Ohio. That doesn't happen to be them, but they are Oriole fans. 3-0 count. Wright will take an extra moment. Got to believe Goins going to take here, and he does. That'll be the 4th walk surrendered by Wright in the ball game. This one with 1 away, and the Orioles bullpen will be activated. TJ McFarland.
When that was going to happen, just command not there right now. Mike Wright doing everything he can to try to battle through here. 4 straight to Goins. 3-2 counts in this ball game.
Equals his career high in walks in a game, 4. It's the most he's surrendered in a game this season. In fact, the time he walked 4 was against Toronto. Tolley up, runner on, 1 down. And the pitch is taken for a strike. Toronto threatening to come right back. It's the way all of these games have been played, as we talked about in the open. All 5 games so far decided by a run, 2 in extra innings. 0-1 pitch will be taken down low. And a 1-ball, 1-strike count on the catcher. Josh O for his last 17. Trying to get out of it right here. Carrera, the leadoff batter, on deck. Short lead at first. Goins falls back into the bag.
Got to keep him close. No, forget about them. Blue Jays don't run a ton, but they do have some pretty good team speed, and they try to take advantage of opportunities, especially here at home. Push the envelope a little bit.
1-ball, 1-strike count. And a throw over to get him back. Tolley waiting at the plate. 29 years old, a veteran now. Only had 49 at bats last year with the Jays. AAA time last season. Goldie will foul that one off. And a 1-ball, 2-strike count. Get up there with those 0 for 15, 16, 17s. You're bound to press a little bit. Get a little sawdust out of the handle.
Oh, yeah.
Just trying to get over it.
He doesn't get the regular playing time. He's R.A. Dickey's personal catcher. Actually used to catch him with the Mets. So when Dickey signed here, totally followed.
Here's the 1-2 delivery again. This ball will go to second base. Scope. Manny Machado. Plenty of time. Big double play. That's what they needed, and that'll take care of it. Here in the fourth, only 3 faced by right as the Orioles pick up their second double play of the game. Ball game is tied. And Toronto starter, the lefty, Jay Happ. How's he do?
Yeah, check him out. Pitching by inning. Now this season, the Orioles coming in with the plan to get him early because innings 1 through 3. Look at that earned run average, 5.14, but he settles in. 4 and on, 2.21. But the Orioles in the fourth today, 4 for 7, 2 home runs, 2 doubles, and the 3 runs tie the game. So kind of going against the norm here for Jay Happ. His offense, maybe they'll put more runs up.
Toronto with the win last night, now even at home, 15 and 15 on the year. Pitch will be taken outside. Paul Yanish. Yanish, a base hit his first time to the plate. It'll be Jones and Rickard to follow. To short. Goings up. And Yannish is retired. 5th inning underway with a ground ball out. The Orioles on the road now 12 and 13 on the season. Jones coming up. He struck out and hit into a fielder's choice. Toronto's actually picked their win percentage up a bit here at home of late. They've won 6 of their last 8, and they've done it with offense. Along with that good starting pitching, they've averaged 5.5 runs a ball game over those last 8 games here at home. Jones, the 0 for 2. He's had 1 hit, 11 at bats in the series. Showed bunt. He had Donaldson back. Pulls the bat back, and it's a ball.
Adam Jones won't hesitate. If he sees a third baseman back in a situation in a ball game when the Orioles need a base runner, lay one down. Practices it every day.
That'll go to second. They were playing him right near the bag. Barney, the long throw, not going to get him. Barney's throw pulled. Smoke off the bag. Would have been a close play anyway, and Jones is on.
Well, that's what hustle does. Barney had to readjust out in the middle of the field. You see Smoke trying to hang on there. The throw pulling him off. Barney made a a little move to get a bigger hop. Moving back to the outfield grass. And maybe just threw the weight off a little bit, yanking that one up the line.
It'll be a base hit for Adam. And the Orioles have their 7th hit of the ball game. Rickard 2 for 2. Led off the 4th inning with his 5th home run. Had a base hit his first time up. Now the Orioles with a runner on and 1 away. And Happ looking for that ground ball double play himself. Pitch will be a strike on the outside corner. And the count goes to 1-1. Jones not going far off first. Rickard on a breaking ball, which will miss inside to him, so he'll get ahead on the count 2-1. Joey Rickard, this will be his 11th multi-hit game. He's had 2 games where he's had 3 hits. Pitch taken for a strike on the inside corner. He's got 2 so far in this one. And the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Joey does not mind hitting with 2 strikes, always trying to work the count, as many pitches as possible.
And Happ with that left-hander close to a balk move that lefties love to do.
Yeah, finally showing the move. Happ double plays, 13 forced in the 56 opportunities. Good rate, good 2-seam fastball, keeps it down. It's a real high ground ball percentage this year.
Jones back. He doesn't have much of a lead over there. Just trying to keep him as flat-footed as he can if he can get a ground ball and help out with the double play. Two ball, 2 strike count. Rickard waiting on it. Ground ball, that'll go to short. Going 1, relay 2. That's why he was throwing over. Wanted to keep Adam Jones as close as he could. And they get the double play off it. No runs on 1 hit, no errors, nobody left on. And this tight ball game remains so. Tied at 3-3.
How about Tucker Nathan's big night last night against New Hampshire? The Bay Sox winning. He went 2 for 4 with a double and a home run. Career high 5 RBI. This season's .260 with 4 homers, 5 doubles, 19 RBI. Real good story. Tucker Nathan's is undrafted out of Fairfield University. Actually played 2 years of independent ball before the Orioles signed him back in 2013, and promoted up to Double-A and did a nice job.
Good for him, long run. And again showing the bunt. Guerrero, the leadoff batter, walked, scored in the 3rd inning. He is popped out. 3-3 game here in the bottom half of the 5th. Carrera's got Janish way in at third. Trying to drag one. He does. Man, can he bunt. That left-handed drag bunt can be so effective when you can get it down, and he can.
Well, he's done it a couple different ways. He's pushed it down to third, and now here taking it with him and just placed perfectly. A lot of times when a lefty will bring the bunt with him, he'll try to get the second baseman or the first baseman involved, but he kills that one, forcing Mike Wright to field it. Good speed allows him to pick up that base hit.
So 3 out of 5 innings, the leadoff man has been on base. That'll be hit number 4 for Toronto. Donaldson's got one of them a single. He has scored a run and he has grounded out. Wright's delivery to him will miss down low for a ball. So Wright again, he's had to work tough innings. There've been a lot of pitches thrown in pressure situations in this game.
Yeah, to his credit, he's really had to grind this game out. Pitching now into the 5th inning, and it seemed like every inning there's been some pressure on him. Been able to induce a couple ground ball double plays to help him get out of some jams. Nice one in the last inning.
1-0 count. Donaldson, Encarnacion to follow. Wright's delivery to him. Pickoff. Good play, Davis again, and a little help from the runner. Davis got down trying to block it. The ball went skipped over the glove anyway. Carrera, though, it hit him and stopped.
Take a look at the play here from Pena, the backhand pick, and come up firing. Davis going down to pick the ball. Actually does catch the glove. Nice play to keep that one from going down the right field line.
Well, he hasn't made many mistakes at first base, has he?
No, real good.
2-0 count. I want to swing, I want to swing, I don't want to swing.
Right. Well, when you look in the dictionary for underwater hack, this is what it looks like. Slow breaking ball, indecisive on the swing, to say the least.
So you turn around the home plate umpire and say, would you check it first, see if I went around on that?
Point down the line.
2-1 delivery by Wright, and that is there for a strike. Donaldson not particularly happy with that one. And the count goes to 2-2. Donaldson, as we said, with that base hit, 16 consecutive games that he has reached base. He's got 38 walks this year, behind Bautista and Trout in walks in the American League, and asks for a timeout.
You know, some of the great players in the game today. I was listening to Trumbo talk about his offensive success this year, and he immediately started talking about his routine. Very disciplined routine. I was watching Donaldson take his BP here the last couple days. Very disciplined, never falters. You know, starts his round going the other way, finding the bat head. And really, that's what quality Major League veterans do. They establish a good routine, try to continue to raise the bar to improve their game, but they do it every day without fault.
Consistency is what you're after. As John Wooden, historic coach at UCLA, always told his players, it's not practice that makes perfect. It's perfect practice that makes perfect. And that's what the great pros do. 3-ball, 2-strike count. Carrera, a threat to go here with nobody out at first base. Wright just hanging on to the ball, and Donaldson says, what's he doing? Turning to John Tumpane, the home plate umpire. Donaldson standing there frozen, waiting. 3-2 delivery. Runner does go. Struck him out, and did he get him? Yes, on the way by. Strike him out, throw him out. Double play as Jonathan Scope off the bag to get it. Pena's now gotten 3 out of 4.
Like this double play here. Good fastball riding up and in. How about Carrera, the good speed? Jonathan Scope with the fine play going up the line. Pena coming out of the chute. He's missing Carrera at first base. here. Nice play with the help of Jonathan Schoop to get the second out. See him step in front of the base, lead with that left foot, gets himself in a good position to let the ball travel. Glove on the leg. Great play by Schoop. Pena liking the tag.
2 down. Boy, has Wright been helped out by the defense behind him in this game. There have been some outstanding individual plays. There have been 2 ground ball double plays that have really mattered. And now a strike him out, throw him out double play. Encarnacion will be swinging from his heels if he gets a pitch to go after. 2-0 count on him. Bases are empty. Ball game tied at 3-3. 2-0 delivery on the way. Part of that home run last night is 600th RBI as a Blue Jay, becoming just the 8th player in Jay's history in the 40 years to reach that level. And he has added to that today with a double. 3-0 count, 2 down. And he's pitched around him. That's 5 walks. That's a new career high. 2 down, 1 on. Text Masson's word of the day, trade, to 29292. Your chance for a win and greet with Chris Davis. That's trade to 29292. Brought to you by Mile One Automotive, offering you 20 convenient locations throughout the Baltimore area. Visit them in store or online at mile1.com. Michael Saunders, RBI sac fly, and a long fly ball to the wall in center, caught by Adam Jones. Game tied at 3 here in the 5th inning. Encarnacion, the runner at first, shift on. Saunders will take the pitch down low for a ball.
Wright would like to have that pitch. Not a bad fastball.
Very well be his last inning of work. The bullpen's still active. And 93 pitches thrown. 1-0 delivery, and that'll be taken down low. It is truly amazing that this game is tied at 3, the way Wright has struggled through this game. It's just been 2-0, 3-2 counts, but he's found a way to get the outs.
Well, he really has when he needs to make a big pitch. A couple double play balls. And you mentioned it, the defense has been helping him out for sure. But 94 pitches. Hasn't even completed the 5th inning.
Two-0 count. Little number. That's going to be a base hit. Shift was on. No way to make a play on Michael Saunders. So he gets the swinging bunt single, which will move Encarnacion down to second base, and there are 2 on, 2 away.
Well, I think Wright kind of fortunate taking that single right there. Field knock, yeah, keeps things going. Encarnacion gets down to second base, but 2-0 count to Saunders, who's been just lighting it up here recently. And some good at bats against the Orioles. Take that little infield ground ball.
So their 7th chance today in these situations. Justin SMOAK, a walk, scored in the 2nd, struck out his last time up. With Wright on the mound, the Orioles have won ball games. They are 7-3 in the 10 starts he's made. He's been the benefactor of a lot of runs scored in the ball games he starts. Orioles have averaged over 8 runs a game in his last 5 starts. Pitch will be taken inside for a ball, and the Orioles have won all of those games. It's the exact opposite of what Kevin Gausman goes through, where he can't get any runs scored, and Wright gets a plethora. Encarnacion down at second base. Saunders on at first, 2 outs. SMOAK will take the pitch, Frozing. at 81. And a 1-ball, 1-strike count.
The change hasn't really been the best pitch for Mike Wright today. The strike he's thrown, and it was up in the zone.
1-1. Ooh, what a rip he took at that one. Tipped it right straight back. And a 1-ball, 2-strike count.
Here, 94. Smoke cutting it loose. Just missing the elevated heater there.
So Wright trying to finish it up here in the 5th inning against Smoke. A 1-ball, 2-strike count. Jays have first and second covered. Smoke will take it inside. Not a lot happening, but a lot of pitches being thrown. 2-2. And another full count.
Yeah, that full count taken to 100 pitches, and the Blue Jays on the bases will be in motion with 2 outs.
Three-two. Encarnacion, Saunders. They are on their way, and it's a pop-up in the infield. Played on the third base side. Pena's got it, and another inning in which Wright finds a way. Couple of singles, 2 left on, 3-3 game.
Rogers Center, Buck Showalter pushing all the right buttons. Joey Rickard scuffling here in June, just 1 for 9, but starting the game off with a single back through the box. And how about the home run? Oh yeah, Joey Rickard and the O's on the board. JANISH getting the start at third base, making a beautiful defensive play. And even Francisco Pena behind the plate, gunning down Carrera. Beautiful throw, nice tag by Jonathan Scope. F-Troop doing it for Buck Showalter right now. Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com for a free rate quote.
Manny Machado will lead it off for the Orioles. A double, and he is hit into a double play. Happ up to 68 pitches thrown. It'll be Machado, Davis, and Trumbo in this tie ball game. Manny slices that one into the seats. With the 1 for 2 that he's added in this game, Manny's now had 9 hits and 23 at bats against the Blue Jays this season. He's had 5 RBIs in the 5 games played previously. 1-1 delivery to him, and Happ seemed to cut over the top of the 83 pitch. 1-2.
Pretty good change. Located well, down and away.
Here's the 1-2 delivery on the way. Manny will take that one down low. 6th inning. Toronto got a run in the 2nd, 2 in the 3rd, 3-0 lead. The Orioles came right back. 4th inning. Home runs by Rickard, a solo, Davis, 2 RBI shot, and tied the ball game up, and that's where we are. 2-2 delivery on the way, and Machado again into those seats over the Oriole dugout.
I'm trying to get that fastball in there on the inside corner. Taking a chance on Machado. You leave it on the white part of the plate. Man, has he been getting ahead to the fastball in.
Manny hitting just .211 so far in June. 2-2 pitch to him, ladles that one to left field. That is way back at the wall, and goodbye, home run. Manny Machado delivers the long ball. The Orioles now have 3 home runs in this game, and for the first time in the ball game, they've got a 4-3 lead. 16th homer, 39th RBI.
Wow, doubles and home runs. That's all Manny Machado hits. Swing right there from Machado. Staying back.
So Happ, his first ball game where he has surrendered 3 home runs this season. The Orioles go on top with Davis up.
Take a look at Manny Machado's swing. A little change up. Tried to get it down and away. Catching too much of the plate. Shot a blast out of the Rogers Center.
And there's Manny here in this ballpark. His 4th home run in Toronto, his 11th lifetime against the Jays. Davis already has one, 2 RBI homer last time up. He's got 15 on the year. Davis, as we said, is the first left-hander to have an extra base hit against Happ this season. Left-handers came in hitting 200 against Happ and had not had a home run against him. Lefties. That one's going to be into the gap. Davis is going to go for another extra base hit. Pilar up with it. Davis will cruise in. He got a double, and they have found a way to get to the left-hander.
Davis is locking in right now. Take a look at the head position right here. He finishes it, keeps it down for an extended period of time. Beautiful swing. Look at that. Wow. Locking in, keeping the front side in there. Picking that average up off the lefties. Homer and a double today. 11th double of the season.
I was just looking. Chris Davis with 2 extra base hits, a homer and a double. Happ had not given up an extra base hit to a left-hander since last September 9. A double by Joey Votto. And if you count the at-bats in this game, he had 97 at-bats by a left-hander without an extra base hit.
Man.
And Chris Davis picks up the homer and now the double. Mike Trumbo will try and get him in. The Orioles with 9 hits in the game, out hitting Toronto 9-5. Trumbo has grounded out twice to second base. Another $500 for our Maryland Lottery contestant of the game on the home run by Manny Machado, Mike Byers. Big day for Mike. That's 3 home runs, $1,500.
We've got to get our names in that lottery, man.
I have it in.
Oh, you did?
Because we don't qualify, so won't matter even if they picked our names out. 1-1 delivery on the way. Pretty good jam shot right there. And a 1-ball, 2-strike count. Trumbo in the last 9 games, 12 for 35. He's had 5 home runs and 9 RBIs over that span. He has been hot, looking for his first hit in this game. DHing. 1-2 delivery on the way. Count will stay at 1-2. For Trumbo, as a designated hitter this year, his 29th game, he's hitting .264, 11 home runs, 25 RBIs, got a .609 slugging percentage as a DH. 1-2 delivery to him. Had to wait on that one. Pops it up. First baseman SMOAK will come in and just get there in time to put it away. First out of the inning. This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the Orioles may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Orioles. Machado, the third home run for the Orioles in the ball game. His 16th. Orioles have the 4-3 lead.
You know, I thought it was pretty interesting. Machado and Rickard's ball speed off the bat was 100 miles an hour as well, but Manny's distance went about 25 feet further. And the reason, not because of the wind blowing, but just how the ball comes off Machado's bat. It's more of a truer backspin. He gets more of an aggressive downstroke to the baseball and kind of chops on it like a golfer does. You get that backspin on the ball, and it just carries a little bit further.
Certainly did that time.
Yes, it did. 400 feet.
Jonathan Scope up in the air to right. Herrera trying to find it in the sun. Battled it first. Puts it away. Throw's going to come over to third base. Runner tagging. Davis moves up, and there are two down. On Saturday, June 25, the Orioles take on the Rays. It's a split admission doubleheader. 105-705. 7:05 game. First 20,000 fans 15 and over get the Orioles batting practice pullover. Get your tickets at Orioles.com or 888-848-BIRD. So a runner at third with two down, and Nolan Reimold coming to the plate. Reimold after the RBI, and the Orioles try and get a 2-run lead in a series where a 2-run lead is astronomical. Orioles 1 for 5 in these situations today. Reimold on a check swing. Did he go? Nope. He has grounded out and struck out. Home run by Manny Machado. Double by Davis. The hits in the inning. Happ has not walked anybody. He has struck out 4. 1-0 pitch on the way. Down low. With the Orioles scoring here in this inning, Wright does not have to come back out to give himself a chance to be the winning pitcher. And I don't think he's going to. The Orioles had the bullpen active. We'll see. 2-0 pitch. Shattered bat. Goes to short. Goins makes the play. Orioles pick up a run. 2 hits, no errors. They leave 1 on. Manny Machado, delivering number 16 on the season, is now in that top 10 in home runs in the league. there is your de jour home run triple pack of the day. Rickard, Davis, Manny Machado.
Bombs. Like that. A little surprise, Mike Wright coming back out here for the 6th inning. 6th inning this year is where he's been touched a little bit. 9 runs he's given up. His worst inning by far.
I'm really surprised.
Yeah, up over 100 pitches. And it hasn't been smooth sailing. Every inning he's had to grind through.
Villar, Barney, Goins are due up. Villar has been hit by a pitch and struck out. And that is in there for a strike. So Wright trying to work the extra inning here in the 6th. He's the pitcher of record on the winning side for the moment. 0-1 delivery to third. That's going to be a base hit. And the leadoff man is on again for the Jays. 4 out of 6. So whatever the reason for leaving him in against Pilar, he's not going to leave him in against Barney. And the Orioles will go to the bullpen here in the 6th inning. Our pitching change brought to you by Jiffy Lube, where participating stores now do brake service. Stop in and let Jiffy Lube inspect your brakes today.
Game didn't have his best stuff today, but did last 5 innings. Gave up the 3 earned runs, but it took him 103 pitches to grind through, and he is responsible for the runner on first base. Showalter going out to the bullpen. Going out TJ McFarland. Look at his pitch arsenal. The fastball 67% of the time. He keeps increasing that fastball velocity. Now consistently around 92, 93. Run average at 3.86. Let's have a win on the year. 6 punch outs in 16 1/3 innings of work. Holding opponents to a 258 overall average. Righty's way down to 138, but the lefty's up to 364. But he can roll them over with the best of them. Ball percentage up to 64%.
His first appearance against the Jays this year. Nobody out, runner at first. And the pitch will be taken for a strike by Darwin Barney.
Look at it. Inherited runner stranded. 2 of 4. Big sample size for TJ.
Barney 0 for 2 off the left-hander. Goins on deck. And Barney's got a base hit the other way. The Orioles had a little shift on it. Heading over to third base, Pilar. Here's the throw to the cutoff man all the way through. So he delivers a base hit. Barney's on. And with nobody out, Jays cover the corners here in the 6th.
Well, Barney didn't knock the cover off this ball, but placed it perfectly in right field off the end of the bat. Dying out there in right field, and Pilar with a great speed. This one on into third base.
So Toronto threatening now, and Devon Travis is going to pinch hit. Travis will come on with a left-hander on the mound. Goins had a double and a walk. 2 for 7 for the Jays in these situations, and a chance for them to get it tied up with that runner at third base. Delivery by McFarland, put up in the air to left field, back near the warning track and wall, and handled. Reimold tagging up. Pilar will score. Sac fly, RBI. Ball game is tied again, and that run will be charged to Wright.
Not too bad for Mike Wright, grinding through that ball game. Blue Jays answering right back off TJ McFarland, single, then the sac fly. Nice tagging up there by Barney. He's got himself in the scoring position on the deep fly ball.
And Russell Martin will pinch hit Bertolli and stay in the catch. Bertolli had flied out and hit into a double play. And he can only sit and watch now in a non-decision game. This one is now turned over to the bullpen. So Russell Martin up, a chance to put his ball club on top. He is 0 for 1 against McFarland. 1 out, runner at second base. Scope will hold the runner close. 229 off left-handers this year for Martin. And the pitch will be taken for a ball. As we mentioned earlier, Martin has been scuffling at the plate over the last 14 games. He has picked up 9 RBIs. Not a lot of base hits like Encarnacion's hits have come. And he's had a chance to get a run in. And he does that chance right here. 2-0.
Martin not having a bad series. Took 3 walks, a couple base hits. I'm hoping his back can get more consistent.
And that's going to miss. Martin had only 1 official at bat in the game last night. He ended up with 2 walks and a sacrifice and a single. So he has had 2 hits in this series in 4 at bats. 3-0 count. Top of the order. Carrera waiting on deck. And that is there for a strike. If needed, I would not be surprised to see Bautista show up in this game in a pinch hit situation. He may not be able to run very well, but
I agree.
He took BP. He can hit. Martin 3-1. Runner off second. And walk. So Toronto's drawn 6 walks in this game. 5 of those surrendered by Wright, the starter. Wright's final line: 4 runs, 6 hits, 5+, 3 strikeouts, and 5 walks. Now Carrera. A walk scored, base hit, and then was part of a strike him out, throw him out double play in the 5th inning, and he was popped out. He's 11 for 23 against left-handers. Yikes. And takes the pitch away for the ball.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive batting average. Yeah. You got to do a lot of things right. Lefty on lefty. So they don't get a chance to see as many on the same side. Just not as many lefties in the game nowadays.
JANISH in at third base. McFarland struggling with the strike zone himself here. Count goes to 2-0.
Trying to keep it down there, use that ground ball double play. We've seen the speed of Carrera. Tough to double him up anyway.
2-0. 3-0. Farland has had some time off. His last outing was the 5th. He worked against the Yankees 2 innings, had 3 hits, surrendered, a couple of strikeouts. It's been a while. 3-0 pitch on the way. Carrera's taking, and he walks on 4 straight to load the bases. Dave Wallace will head out to try and quell the fire here. Donaldson coming up.
All about execution here. A little adjustment. The same page of how they're going to attack Josh Donaldson. Now, stay aggressive. Stay aggressive is the key.
Big moment in this ball game. Run in here in the 6th inning. 1 down. Donaldson, a base hit and a run scored in this game, is 1 for 3. He's got the sacks loaded. Barney had the single. Martin a walk. Carrera a walk. Donaldson will take it, and it is in there for a strike.
Impressive numbers there. His career with the bases loaded. 442, couple grand slams.
298 off left-handers this year. Down low. Pena makes the nice stop. One ball, 1 strike, 1 down. Orioles starter Mike Wright and an ND in this game. All these base runners the responsibility of McFarland. 1-1 delivery on the way. Donaldson will take it. 2-1. Two-one delivery on the way. Donaldson will take that one. Those aren't close. 3-1. No place to put him.
You come up with the best pitch of your life right here. That'll be a 2-seamer. That'll be on the plate. That'll be down. Donaldson's eyes get big, and he just rolls over one here.
3-1 delivery. Donaldson chops it. It is foul. Hit him in the box. So we go the limit on this one. 3-2.
There we go. 93. Good sinker, and yeah. Chopped it down. Unfortunately, down and then off his leg.
Barney, Martin, Carrera, the base runners. 3-2, 1 out. Pena's going to go out to make sure what they want to throw here.
Nice move right there by Pena. I like that. Well, they went through the list of pitches. TJ didn't feel comfortable with what he put down. Finally agreeing to it. And maybe Pena having second thoughts. So make sure they're on the same page. Conviction. 3-2 pitch.
They have not had the experience together as a battery, so need to be sure. 3-2. Donaldson waiting on it. High in the air to left field. Runner will tag. Adam Jones is coming over. Jones will make the catch. Barney comes. He'll score. RBI Donaldson, and Toronto's back on top 5-4.
Seesaw battle here, back and forth. The Orioles can get out of here. Giving them just this here, a couple runs in this inning. I feel good about it. Don't want any more separation. Jays and the O's here in the 6th.
Donaldson is 36th run batted in. Runners remain at first and second, 2 down, and Encarnacion down low, blocked. RBI double in the 3rd inning and has drawn 2 walks. Ryan Dunsing, another left-hander, ready in the bullpen if needed. Encarnacion 268 off the lefties. He has picked up 4 home runs against left-handers, 9 against righties. 1-0 pitch on the way, and he got another one. There's the big blast they were looking for. Goodbye, home run.
Picking up his 14th long ball of the season, but a couple big ones here, back-to-back games. That's the 3-run shot. Fastball down the middle of the plate. It's up in the 2nd deck on the Rogers side.
And an 8-4 lead as Encarnacion delivers the long ball. He has hit more home runs against the Orioles, 32, than any other team in the East that he plays against. He may not be getting a lot of hits lately, but he sure is making them count. 1 ball, 1 strike count. Michael Saunders down to first. Fair ball. That's going to roll into foul territory. Saunders on his way to second, taking about 3, but will stay there in the long throw in by Rickard. He's got a 5-game hit streak now with a double to keep it going here in the 6th inning.
Well, kind of showing what this offense, this Blue Jays offense, potentially has. What the league saw all last year, the ability to put a big crooked number on the board at any moment of the ball game. Saunders staying hot, sneaking one down that right field line.
Well, the Jays keep the inning alive. They have batted around. 9th hitter SMOAK, a walk and a run scored. He has struck out and he has popped out. Each team now 9 hits in the ball game. Delivery by the lefty will be put up in the air in the infield, second base, and put away. But a big inning. Encarnacion delivering the big blow, a 3-run homer, and it is an 8-4 Jays lead. Orioles baseball on MASN brought to you by PNC Bank, for the achiever in you, and by American Standard Heating and Air. It's their all-star sales event up to $1,100 and instant rebates or 0% APR for 36 months. Gary Thorne and Mike Bordick here in Toronto. And for McFarland, a long inning. 5 runs on 4 hits in the 6th inning as they batted around. Barney will go from second to short. Devon Travis stays in at second. Russell Martin is now behind the plate. New battery mate and Happ. He's got a chance to be a winner. 8-4. Going to the 7th inning. And the Orioles got to battle back again. Pena pops it up first base, foul territory, Smoke. 0 for 3 for Pena. Celebrate a new Orioles slugger on Sunday, June 26th. That'll be a 1:35 game against the Rays, and the Mark Trumbo Orioles t-shirt's going to be given away. And after the game, the kids 14 and under get to run the bases as they do after every Sunday home game. Tickets at Orioles.com or 888-848-BIRD. JANISH a base hit, and he is grounded out. 90 pitches thrown by Happ, and they'll have the bullpen ready. Biagini, who we have seen in this series before, warming up. And Yannish steps out. Happ taking a little long to get going here. 1-0 delivery on the way. In the air to center. Into the darkness goes Pilar. He's got it. 2 down in the 7th inning.
I can't believe Happ's only got 91 pitches thrown.
Pretty efficient.
Yeah.
Well, no walk certainly helps the cause.
Right, that's for sure. Just seems like the Orioles kind of were getting to him, making him work through some tough innings.
Yep.
But the Orioles do have their frontline guys still on the bench, so this is the best comeback team in baseball. Do a lot of damage in the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings.
20 comeback wins to lead the majors. 2 down. Here's Adam Jones. Base hit, get into a fielder's choice, and he has struck out. This series going to wrap up tomorrow. The 12:30 O's extra, 1 o'clock for the ball game. Valdo Jimenez, Aaron Sanchez are the scheduled starters tomorrow. 1-1 on Jones. Adam on a cutter inside to him, and the count goes to 1-2.
Tough pitch right there, boring down and in. Adam pretty lucky he didn't actually square that one up. Might have whistled it off the ankle. Shoe tops.
Yeah.
See how far it bit in the 3rd pitch on the pitch track.
Here's the 1-2 delivery on the way, and he gets it. So Happ hasn't walked anybody. He's got 5 strikeouts. 7th inning stretch time in Toronto. The Jays have the lead. Time brought to you by Miller Lite.
Well, the Orioles hoping to stop the bleeding in the 6th inning, but Encarnacion, a 3-run blast, second deck, deep left field, took the walk-off home run in last night's ball game. Back-to-back games, Encarnacion quietly starting to heat up.
There's your line at 7th inning stretch time. 8-8-0, 4-9-0 for the Orioles. McFarland stays out, and the pitch taken for a strike. Happ in the dugout between innings. Manager John Gibbons coming up. That's it for his start. Hung in there and got a chance to win his 7th game. Kevin Pillar started out that 6th inning with a base hit, and he starts out this inning with a base hit. So Pillar is 2 for 3 in the ball game, and double-digit hits now for the Jays. Day after the Orioles win and score 5 or more runs, get 50% off regular menu price online orders at papajohns.com. Promo code Orioles5. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's. Barney a base hit, runs scored, 1 for 3. 3 hits, 6 at bats in this series. And that one will be taken away. 1-0 count. Delivery by McFarland. 94. And burns that one right by him.
Like it. Good fastball. TJ. Looks like Buck's going to keep him out there. Need up some more innings.
Barney facing him for the first time in this game. He's got one base hit into left. Reimold will get it back in, and there are 2 on, nobody out. Let's take a look at our Major League Notebook as seen by Toronto. Writer covering for Yahoo Sports through 62 games last year. Toronto 32-30 this year, 32-20, and with 5 of the next 9 games against Baltimore and first place Orioles with a 4.5 lead coming into today. Here's a prime opportunity for the Blue Jays to make up some ground. That's why John Gibbons has said this series is so important for this ball club, even though it is just the middle of June. Devon Travis up, and will take the pitch for a strike on the outside corner. RBI sac flies, drawn a walk, and he's tripled and driven in a run in this position in the lineup, the number 8 spot. Travis got the sac fly, pinch hitting in the 6th. Goins before that, the walk and the triple. So productive bottom part of the order in this game. That one will be handled in right. Rickard will make the throw to third. Relay will not be made. Pillar will move up on the fly ball. 1 down.
Good to get the out on the board. Now TJ 1 pitch away. Love the play ball here.
Russell Martin drew a walk, pinch hitting in the 6th inning, and scored. Jays 3 for 9 in these situations. They keep piling up the opportunities with runners in scoring position in this series. 1 down. Martin will take it inside for a ball.
Well, I think that's what you hope for your offense. At least give yourself a chance until the clutch hits start coming around. And in this series, they have had plenty of opportunities.
32nd chance in this series with a runner in scoring position. Down low, count goes 2-0. Biagini up in the bullpen. He'll be coming on for Happ when we go to the 8th inning. Long time for Dunsing in the bullpen. He's warmed up for about 2 innings. 2-0 pitch on the way, and that's going to go towards center. Adam Jones will make the catch. Runner tags. Pilar coming. Long throw on the fly. Throw to first. Not in time, but close. Barney just getting back to the bag. Sac fly for Martin and an RBI, and it's 9-4.
Well, Martin driving the ball out to Adam Jones. Jones, a lot of momentum coming forward, thinking he's got a shot at Pilar, but the ball leaking up the line. How about Pena with a nice read, recognizing that. Scope sneaking in from behind. Barney jumping off. There's Scope. Nice play. Pena and Jonathan.
Made that pretty close. I think Buck Showalter's got the video people taking a look at that play on the call at first base.
Maybe asking if he touched him. Jonathan said, yeah, I got him. Question is his foot back on the base?
No challenge. And the top of the order. Carrera coming up. Well, he's been active in this game. 2 walks he's picked up. He scored both times. Base hit, and he has popped out. And he will take the pitch away. 2 down, runner at first. A 9-4 lead. 11 hits in the ball game for Toronto. Out hitting the Orioles right now 11-9. Carrera will take the McFarland delivery away. And the count goes to 2-0.
Really, this is an example of how dangerous American League East lineups are.
Big hop. Jonathan Scope has it. He'll make the throw over to get him a run in on a couple of hits. No errors. 1 left on base. And after 7, 9-4 Toronto. Celebration, even though the Orioles have hit 3 of them in the game. It's the one Encarnacion that has made the big difference.
Hap out of the ball game, but pretty impressive line here, going 7 strong innings, scattering the 9 hits, giving up the 4 earned runs.
And our Express Care LifeBridge Health partner brings you the look. For locations, visit whywaitintheer.com.
Joe Biagini coming out of the Jays bullpen. Pretty good fastball, low to mid-90s. And what's new, curveball, slider, and change. Opponent's hitting .241 overall.
Joey Rickard will lead it off against him. Biagini worked in the ball game yesterday, 2 innings, a solid 2 innings. 1 walk, no hits. Bullpen was good in the ball game yesterday. Chavez, Osuna, Storen, all working in the game and got the job done. Biagini, he was the first reliever on in game 1. That's going to be a base hit. So Rickard, big ball game, 2 singles, a home run, 3 for 4 in the game, and the Orioles have the leadoff man on in the 8th inning.
There you go. Nice day for Joey Rickard. Talked about him recently. He's been using that platoon role, coming off the bench, pinch running for defense. This offensive day.
Let's see what the Orioles can do coming back here. Manny Machado, home run, double, 3 times to the plate. That's going to go to left field, not deep. Michael Sanders got to play it on a hop, and there's what we talked about earlier. Rickard's on his way to third. Throw will come in, and down to second base goes Machado. How do you play it in the outfield, you asked?
That's right. Here we go. The bouncer. Thought he was going to catch it at first, but a little too close and bouncing up and over the head. Machado to get to second. Rickard on into third base. Well, will that be enough of a miscue to ignite this Orioles offense?
That'll be a base hit and an error charge on Saunders in left field, allowing Rickard to go to third and Manny Machado to second. No Pete Walker coming out. Chris Davis coming out in our Lexus of Towson drive of the game.
Has he been in fuego or what? 2-run shot, the first extra base hit Haps given up by a lefty this season. Chris Davis now 4 home runs in the last 5 games.
Drive of the game brought to you by Lexus of Towson, the area's #1 luxury dealer. Come see why at lexusoftowson.com.
Sorry, 4 home runs in the last 4 games.
Shift is on, 2 in scoring position. Orioles looking to get right back in it. A highly offensive game. Gavin Floyd in the bullpen. 9 runs, 11 hits for Toronto. 4 runs, 11 hits for the Orioles. Davis outside to him. With Haps' big numbers against the left-handers, holding him to virtually nothing. Davis was the only left-hander in the lineup for the Orioles, and what does he do? The home run and the double. 4-game hit streak now for Chris, and he will foul that one off the plate. 2-1.
Davis locking in, making the adjustment. Talked about him been a little in between taking pitches and waiting a little bit longer instead of thinking about hitting all the way until the take.
Last time Chris Davis had home runs 4 consecutive games. They'll go back to July of 2013. Teams involved were Texas and Toronto. 3-1 delivery on the way to him, and Chris will take a strike. Thought he was going to head down. Count goes 3-2.
Well, dotted down and away. Pitcher's pitch. See how Biagini gets on top. Actually, a little 2-seam movement working away from Davis. Located perfectly.
Runners off, second and third. 3-2 delivery, and they're loaded. And the Orioles get their shot here in the 8th inning. That is the first walk to be picked up by the Orioles. One of the reasons Happ was able to stay in for 7 despite tough situations, the fact he did not walk a batter. Now Trumbo is 0 for 3, and always a long ball threat. Sacks are full. 2 ground ball outs and a pop out for Mark. Geni's delivery to him, and that will be in the outside corner for a strike. been a good ballpark for Trumbo, as it's been true for Davis. 286 hitter here at Rogers Center with 6 career home runs in this ballpark. 0-1 pitch towards second. That's going to be a base hit. That will score Rickard. Bases will remain loaded as they get it in. And Trumbo comes through with an RBI single. And it is a 9-5 game.
And here you go. Nice little piece of hitting right here from Trumbo. He wasn't trying to hit the grand slam. He was trying to keep this inning rolling along. This little base hit for Travis's head at second base. The effort, but all well over his head.
So John Gibbons will have to go to the bullpen again. Bases remain loaded. Jonathan Schoop will be coming to the plate.
Reaches down to the Jays bullpen again, pulling out Gavin Floyd. This time the veteran right-hander uses his fastball 65%. Still a pretty good heater, low to mid-90s. It's the curve, slider, and change. 4 quality pitches. At one time they were all plus, but he's had some tough injuries the past few seasons. Tommy John, and he broke his elbow. His 23rd appearance, holding opponents to a 217 overall average. Righties up to 286. Lefties down to 111.
Another one of these reverse number situations, righty-lefty against Floyd. Well, here's another big moment in this game. Bases are loaded. The Orioles are down 9-5. Jonathan Schoop, a double, 1 for 3 in the ball game. Floyd's pitch to him is rattled to center field. Kevin Pillar back in the dark and hauls it in. Runner will tag. Manny Machado will score. The other 2 will move up. And it is a 9-6 game. RBI for Schoop on a long fly ball.
That ball driven by Jonathan Schoop. Elevated fastball, geared up to hit, plenty deep enough to score Machado, but I like the fact everybody was tagging. Trumbo hustling into second, Davis on into third.
So Jonathan gets the RBI, his 34th. They're going to check the play. The Jays are on the call at second base. And Young Soo Kim will come on to pinch hit for Reimold. Reimold had an 0 for 3. As we just showed you, Floyd's been more effective against the lefties than the righties. Two in scoring position, only 1 out. Infield back, 3-run differential now. Kim will take the pitch inside from Gavin Floyd. The struggle continues for both ball clubs in this ball game. A real grinded out game. We are in the 8th inning. Nowhere near feeling this game has got a period on it yet. 1-1 pitch on the way. Kim almost hit him. Had to get the back leg out of the way that time, and a 2-ball 1-strike count from Floyd.
Pretty good block here by Martin. Aggressively he gets over, corrals this one. And Floyd likes to bury that breaking ball back foot, almost catching the back foot there of Kim.
Kim will foul that one off the other way. He's had 1 hit in 8 at-bats in this series. Being asked to get a big hit right here. The Orioles, of course, not only have this inning, but another, which to put some runs up on the board. Kim is 2 for 3 as a pinch hitter this year. 2-2 delivery to him. Floyd way up high. The bullpen problems for Toronto have cost them dearly. They are 11th in ERA. They've given up the 4th most hits per 9 innings of any bullpen in the league. They were good in the ball game last night. Struggling here. Kim 3-2. A swing and a foul ball.
How to get a piece of that one. Nasty finish on this breaking ball from Floyd. And he reaches out. This ball's going to drop on the plate. Uses the legs. Get this AB going.
And a 3-ball 2-strike count. Gibbons not pacing but rocking. And he walked him. And the Orioles have loaded him up again. Wow. So 2 walks in the inning, helping to keep it alive. Those 2 walks are on. Davis is at third base, Trumbo down at second, and now Kim on at first. And Francisco Pena 0 for 3 in the ball game. Orioles down 3. Potential go ahead at the plate, and a cut and a foul tip for a strike.
Fastball kind of cutting off the outside corner.
Sacks full. 1 out. 8th inning. Breaking ball. Had a lot of movement, but it wasn't a strike. 1-1. Gavin Floyd against the Orioles in the first game, 2/3 of an inning. Got the outs. 1 ball, 1 strike count. Runners get their lead. Ground ball that'll go to short. Barney, Travis. A huge double play. The Orioles will pick up a couple of runs here in the 8th inning. They do it on 3 hits and will leave a couple on base. But a pitcher's best friend will end this inning. And the Orioles down now by just 3. Orioles 4-game set tomorrow. Ubaldo Jimenez on the mound against Aaron Sanchez. Our coverage on MASN 12:30 O's Extra, presented by Jeep, followed by game coverage at 1 on MASN and WJZ. All the access you need right here on MASN.
And take a look at tomorrow's starters. Ubaldo Jimenez looking for his 4th win and to lower that big earned run average down. 6.21 right now. Sanchez has been on fire. A solid starter in the Jays rotation.
Dunsing comes out of the bullpen for the Orioles. Kim will stay in the ball game in left field.
Dunsing's pitch arsenal, fastball, slider, and change.
Checks swing and fouls it off.
This will be his 3rd appearance for the Orioles this year. Run average up there a little bit. Working 2 2/3, and a lofty overall batting average at .385.
0-2 count. Shift on in the infield. And did he go? Nope. Josh Donaldson, base hit, run scored in the 3rd, sac fly in the 6th. Also has grounded out, struck out, didn't go around on that one. And a 1-ball, 2-strike count. Encarnacion and then Michael Saunders due up. 1-2 delivery. And that will be outside. Grilly in the bullpen. McFarland worked 2 innings for the Orioles, 5 runs on 5 hits, 2 walks. He is the pitcher of record for the O's. Happ, the starter, on the line for Toronto. Dunsing, 3-ball, 2-strike count. Donaldson will line it to center. Jones back, takes the catch. Hit hard, but Adam there. Well, Oriole fans, the 16 Esurance MLB All-Star Game is here. Go to Orioles.com/vote-orange. Choose your favorite stars. A lot to choose from for the Orioles. The likes of Machado, Trumbo, Wieters, Davis in contention as starters. Vote now. Vote orange at Orioles.com/vote-orange.
Absolutely some deserving Orioles. Trumbo leading the way with his 20 homers. Machado, another sensational year.
Encarnacion will take that for a strike. Big blow. 14th home run, 3 RBIs, 6th inning. He has doubled. He's had a 4 RBI ball game. And he's also drawn a couple of walks. So 4 times up and 4 times on. Encarnacion getting it done. Pitch will be taken away. And a 1-ball, 1-strike count. One delivery, left-handers pitch down low. This season now, Encarnacion's had 6 hits in 22 at-bats against the Orioles. 2 of them have been home runs. And he's got 7 RBIs against the Orioles in 6 games. 2-1 pitch to him. Kept that down. 2-2.
This pitch right there. Hard slider. Tearing itself down and in to Encarnacion, but it makes some good pitches right now. Encarnacion starting to heat up.
2-2 delivery by Dunsing. That'll be away. Encarnacion has had a home run off Dunsing. He is 2 for 7 against him. Full count delivery on the way. And he blasts it to left field, back at the wall, and goodbye home run. He's got another one. Oh, fuego.
These power hitters, man, when they get their power stroke, they can come in bunches. Up his 3rd against the Orioles in 3 games. Gets himself into a hitter's count. just drops the head on this.
That's a 5 RBI day. Encarnacion. He's got 53, and he is now second, behind only David Ortiz in RBIs in the American League. And a 10-6 ball game on the 12th hit by the Jays. In the air, left field, Michael Saunders. Goodbye, home run, back to back. Number 11.
Impressive offenses going at it. The Orioles have been a nice little offensive roll. The Blue Jays finally putting a big number on the board and showing what they can do. Saunders opposite field, back-to-back home runs.
Still only one away. It's 11-6 now. Pitch taken down low by SMOAK. Third time the Jays have had back-to-back home runs this season. As Dunsing surrenders a couple. 11 runs on 13 hits for the Jays. Two-0 delivery. And that one will miss. He falls behind 3-0. Still only one away as the Jays come right back and get those 2 runs back that the Orioles picked up in the top half of the inning. To each team, 3-homer ball game. The Orioles are 11-2 when they have 3 home runs in a game. 3-1 delivery on the way, and he walks it. Eight walks surrendered by Oriole pitchers. 5 by Wright and Strider, 2 by McFarland, 1 here by Dunsing. Counting quickly, I think 4 of those walks have scored.
Well, it's not certainly not what Buck Showalter and Dave Wallace had hoped for. Pitchers have been doing a nice job staying aggressive in the zone.
In the air to right center field. In the sun. Ooh. Rickard battling, going between the sun and the shade to haul that one in.
Tusker right there.
2 down. Encarnacion with his 2-homer day. That's the second time he's done that this year. He did it against Boston earlier in the season. And it's taken for a strike. Back-to-back home runs. Encarnacion and Michael Saunders here in the 8th inning. Double barrel action in the bullpen, and what looks like it'll be just a wrap-up. Ball in the air to center. Adam Jones. He'll make the catch. Barney is retired, but the fans up on their feet here in this 8th inning with those back-to-back homers. It's 11-6. All on Masson, brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. And by Ocean City, Maryland. Let us show you a good time in Ocean City, Maryland. Book now at OCOcean.com. Rogers Center, a site of a lot of offense. An 11-6 lead for the Jays, and it looks like this may be a game not decided by one run, which the previous 5 were.
Well, not over yet. Jason Greeley now into the ball game, veteran righty, 39 years old, still getting it up there pretty good. His fastball in the low 90s. There's a slider for the breaking ball, and the rare change up. This will be his 26th appearance, 4.58 earned run average, 28 Ks, 14 walks. 19 innings of work, holding opponents at 237 overall batting average.
Pedro Alvarez will be on as the pinch hitter for JANISH and goes after the first pitch. JANISH had a 1-for-3 in the ball game. Alvarez against Grilly. Floyd worked an inning and had 1 walk. 0-1. And pitch will be taken up high. Orioles, Rickard, Manny Machado, Chris Davis, all hitting home runs. Encarnacion has had 2. Michael Saunders, 1 for Toronto. 1 ball, 1 strike count. Alvarez looks at that one away. And if there was ever a time where a reliever needed to be aggressive, this is one of them. Just throw strikes if you're Grilly.
Absolutely.
You got a 11-6 lead, 3 outs away from a win. Don't nibble. 2-1 delivery on the way. Challenged him with 93.
Located well right there. Inside corner after fastball away.
Two. Top of the order. Jones on deck. And that will miss. So a 3-ball, 2-strike count. As the Orioles will try and get that leadoff walk. Get some runners on base to make an attempt here in the 9th inning. Grilly's worked an inning in this series. A walk, couple of strikeouts. 3-2 pitch on the way. Jones and then Rickard are due up here in the top of the 9th inning. Both teams had an opportunity to have the lead in this ball game. Three-two pitch on the way. Really a strikeout, 1 down. Visit MassonSports.com/CareFirst to vote for tonight's Care First Fearless Player of the Game. Live fearless with a name trusted for over 75 years. Care First, Blue Cross Blue Shield. Adam Jones, a base hit, a couple of strikeouts, and a fielder's choice in the game. And the delivery to him right through the wickets. And he's got a base hit here in the 9th inning. In fact, he's only got 1. They made a scoring change in the 5th inning and charged an error on a ball where Jones had been credited with a single on a throw by Barney, the second baseman. So in that 5th inning, an E4.
No doubt about this one, though. Right between the legs of Gurley, right back through the box.
2 errors charged to the Jays in the ball game. Here's Joey Rickard. Big day at the plate. Couple of singles, home run, RBI. Also has hit into a double play. He has scored a couple of runs in the ball game. Oh, 1 count, 1 away. He'll play behind. SMOAK will behind the runner at first. 0-1 delivery. A breaking ball is going to miss outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Right back at you tomorrow. Sunday game, 12:30 O's extra, 1 o'clock for the ball game. Wrap up this 4-game set. Orioles go to Boston, and then after that, the Jays are going to be coming to Camden Yards. 1 ball, 1 strike delivery on the way, and change up out in front, 1-2.
Pretty good pitch. Pretty impressive stuff here. On the arm of Jason Grilli, 39 years old. He's had some health problems past few seasons. 2013 had a problem with the right forearm. 14 oblique strain. Last year Achilles. Stay healthy for the Blue Jays this year.
Grilli's got a 2-ball, 2-strike count. Runner off first, Jones. Rickard out in front, 2 down.
New slider, setting off movement, working itself over to the outer third. Elevated, give Rickard a chance, but swings through that one.
2 down, 9th inning. Toronto looking to even up the season series at 3-3 with a victory here. Encarnacion, the big 5 RBI day, including a 3-run homer and another solo shot. Manny Machado, runner will go. Defensive indifference, Jones down to second base. Happ will be the winner, 7-3 on the year. McFarland will take the loss. He'll be 1-2. And Grilli just trying to wrap it up. Manny, 3-hit ball game. 0-2. He could get a triple there. He'd hit for the cycle. Single, double, home run. Grilli with the 0-2 delivery. Not going to happen. So Grilli strikes the side out here in the 9th inning. No runs on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 left on base. Toronto comes away with an 11-6 win, first game in the series that had not been decided by just 1 run. So now the season series is 3-3. 1 more left to go in this 4-game set.